Coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area. It's time for Zig in the Zone with Ralph Zig Tycho.
Well, coming to you from Alameda, California, ladies and gentlemen, it's Ralph Zig Tycho.
Hey, Paulie. Nice to talk to you as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And every week you're getting a little bit better, man. It looks like you're ready to go cruising again.
Well, you know, my nose is clear of blood running down it, which has always been a big favorite of mine. And for those of you who don't know, I took my second face plant in 2 years, and both of them were not fun. And both of them involved tripping over a curb that I wasn't prepared for because I'm just a space cadet when it comes down to it. And the older I get, the more vulnerable or I become after the happenings.
But
And
okay, hold on. I thought we were going with the other backstory today. I thought we were saying that you were being honored in the city of Alameda and they wanted to have your nose print in the concrete outside of that really famous theater they got there, right?
well, that's
Because
what it turned out to be, but who knew?
oh
Um,
wow.
no, it very little notoriety. And as I mentioned last week, um, my friends came to my aid, and I'm basically over the trauma of it. And I thought that you and I would have a podcast together when I explain to you what my fantasy, fantasy memory, all of it revolves around the golden age of baseball. Now, um, I just want to say that the golden age of baseball came to be shortly before my time. I was lucky enough to have my grandfather take me to games when I was 4.5 years old. But that was in 1951. I want to make note that the golden age of baseball didn't started in 1947 when Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey combined to make it all legitimate. I mean, we had um, years of not seeing some of the greats in baseball until 1947. But I'd like to run the reel
Absolutely.
behind behind us so that I could explain some of the highlights.
Right.
To me, and Yogi Berra comes up with the rings.
Right.
Um, Yogi represents everything about the golden age of baseball in New York City for me, where I grew up. And three teams, all competitive in one city. And it was unbelievably great. Getting back to my first year in 1951, my grandfather Phil, who is his memory is with me 24 hours a day. It's like Marty. You know, you just can't imagine knowing someone all your life who passed on the passion of baseball. He took me that year in 1951 to all three baseball parks in New York. And starting with the Giants, the Polo Grounds, it was before Willie came up. First time, and he told me everything. Gave me little wee Willie Keeler, hit him where you ain't expressions.
Right.
Take two, hit to right field. And so the Giants, the Polo Grounds were the first. The second was Yankee Stadium. And in 51, it was the last year of DiMaggio's playing. He retired after that. And my grandfather pointed out to me, Ralphie, you are seeing the greatest player of all time. And he put it in my head that this was an historic event. The next weekend, we went to Ebbets Field. Ebbets Field to me was important because my Aunt Sonny, she's my mother's aunt, or was, but we called her Aunt Sonny. And Aunt Sonny lived right across the street on Bedford Boulevard or Avenue. I don't remember what it was, because there was Bedford in the Bronx too. But that's another story in my memory. So she lived right across the street from Ebbets Field. And this is in Brooklyn. And my relatives were all from Brooklyn, except for Grandpa, who lived in the Bronx and was into New York baseball, New York Giant baseball. So the rivalry gets started between his sister Aunt Sonny and Aunt Bertha chipped in as to let's make Ralphie a Dodger fan.
Right.
And they each had their spiel, but once Willie came up and I saw the excitement it brought like no other baseball event to my grandfather. And he was everything. Willie was everything. Hey, we brushed by that picture of Yogi Berra.
Right there.
Yogi
Yeah.
Berra had these were his rings, and Yogi Berra had more rings than anybody in baseball in those years. Remember, the Yankees won; they were a dynasty, last true dynasty in baseball. 5 years in a row, from 1949 to 1953, they won it all.
Right.
Unbelievable. And the next picture up was Casey Stengel.
Let me get to that.
And
Here we go. That one there?
yeah,
Okay.
the
Tell me
case.
about Casey.
Well, two things. I'm living in Northern California,
Right.
where real close to Oakland, and Casey had two managerial experience before getting fired, not being successful, and looked at as kind of a clown in baseball. And he managed the Oakland Oaks. And I'll put on my Oakland Oak cap for you. Gotta take that away.
And I'll
All
there
right,
we go.
there we go.
All
And
right.
so he managed two people. One was on that league, Well, on the team I'm referring to in 1948, Billy Martin was um, was on that team, and one of the greats of all time, who he and I share our fear of flying. And Jackie Jensen, the Boston Red Sox great outfielder, had a fear of flying. It was all part of the um, the golden age of baseball for me, because the Red Sox, and Frank Malzone was a Bronx boy, third baseman, were the biggest rivalry the Yankees had. The biggest
Right.
rivalry the Giants had was the Dodgers. And first picture up, Sandy Koufax.
Wait, there's another
And
joke there. I'm waiting for the other part of the joke. And then wait. How did you phrase that? Hold on. The Yankees' biggest rivalry. Is that
was
how
the
you phrased
Boston
it?
Red Sox
And you know what the New York Mets' biggest rivalry is?
themselves.
Yes, the New York Mets. There you go. That's the joke. That's the joke.
Uh,
There you go.
some things aren't funny to a Met fan, though. It's a joke to you, but not a
Well, it's
joke to
great.
me.
So that's what we call a regional joke, right? Because you always take the regional team, and in my case, it would be the Giants. And then my
Right,
tagline to the Giants would be, well, every other year, because we have a thing about every
right.
other year, right? That we do okay. And so, yeah.
Yes, but it wasn't that way originally. The
No, no.
Giants in the 50s miraculously won a pennant in 1954, and they beat the Indians in four straight games. And
Right,
the big thing about that year, or that series, was Willie's catch over the shoulder,
right,
and Willie's throw, which really should be the name of it. The the throw held Cleveland, held their runners in scoring position, keeping out of scoring position.
right.
Great catch with a greater throw. So that is some of the things that come to mind when we're talking about the golden age of baseball in New York.
Right.
So um, let's take a little pause on my
Okay,
lungs a little bit,
sure. Because
and we'll do
then
some
the
business.
next picture we have are the three Yankees, and we'll do that next. We have the picture of the three different
Oh,
Yankees,
absolutely,
and so
absolutely. We have a
we'll talk
lot to
about
talk
them
about.
once we catch up. So
And you know what I was thinking when I put this together in my mind? I hope I can entertain Paulie B,
ah,
because Paulie B isn't as fanatic a baseball fan as I am. And so to make it interesting to me and to hear that you're enjoying it by the tone of your voice, because really makes me happy, Paulie.
well, I do love baseball, and it takes me to a lot of different places in my mind. It takes me back to my childhood. It takes me back to just sitting on the couch with my kids and watching baseball. It takes me back to Candlestick Park. It takes me back. There's so many fond memories of baseball, and um, I don't get as much time to watch it until we started doing this podcast together. I invited you back into uh, Ed Studios, And it was you were one of the very first people I thought of when we started Edge Studios, um, because of our connection at the old FCC free radio.
You
And
know, if we had taken the time to talk it through when you started recruiting me, as it were, and I had realized that you were doing basically the same thing, but you were sans asshole.
yeah,
And you know what I mean.
yeah,
And
no, no, I
those who know,
absolutely do.
and but I thought that it was he was all part of it. He wasn't.
No, no.
And
So that's one thing I've learned in the last 10 years. I hope I've learned it. I think it's something I've learned is that it's the old saying, right? You can't pick your family, you can pick your friends, or you can pick your friends, you can't pick your family, kind of thing.
and your seat, you can pick your seat.
And you really need to scrutinize who your friends are. At least the
Right.
ones that you give your energy and your time and your love and your resources to. Because that's a commodity. A lot of people just go through their life with their device in their hand or their cell phone or whatever, and they've got that tunnel vision going on. And it's hard to break people away from that alone, let alone have a meaningful friendship or relationship with somebody, even in any kind of way, even just a business relationship, or in this case, we're creative partners. I'm working on a new podcast with my dog. We're starting a new series. Why? The more people I
To,
meet, the more I love my dog. And
absolutely.
that's not an adage. I mean, people say, you always hear it from actors. You always hear them say, "Oh, it's really hard to work with animals or babies. Don't work with animals or babies or children. Don't do it. It's hard." It's always no. Animals are a joy to work with. They're their own thing. They're not gonna maybe always hit their mark. They may be a little unpredictable, especially my dog. But that's actually what makes it fun and cute and real, right? And so
Same with babies. Same with babies.
same with
Exactly.
they haven't been turned to the dark side yet. Yeah, they're sponges, and so it's like you're growing your own little people, isn't it? It's nice.
Right.
And
Right.
so the innocence of a child, the purity of an animal like a dog or a cat, um these are beautiful things. And so yeah, absolutely. So when I started Edge Studios, I thought of you, and we started your podcast, and like with everybody else's show, it's their show. They get to do whatever they want. They have a co-host, they don't have a co-host. They have a certain format. Everything is driven by the creator, which in your case is you. And you invited me along for this ride, and I've had a blast. And so I love baseball. I love talking with you. I love continuing our friendship on and offline. It's great that we can kind of have our friendship here to show people that different strokes for different folks, and we get along really well. And um,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it's not just baseball. We talk politics and we talk guns.
right?
We're both heavy duty cannabis people.
Yeah, we're both
Um,
advocates
but
for the plant. You got it, sir.
yes, and we both are appreciative of the plant. And back in those, I could tell you an interesting story about the golden age of baseball. But
Okay.
I will uh, I'll make it a little personal and guns at the same time. Around the time I'm 4, 5, 3, my grandfather and my grandmother took care of me in the Bronx while my parents traveled the world. And they left their little Ralphie with a my mother's mother just made a narcissist out of me. Not totally, but she was absolutely praised with having a first grandchild to raise. She didn't do me particularly well, but my my uncle who lived with us, Uncle Harold, and my grandfather did. And I don't know if you remember because you weren't born, neither was I, but they put a prohibition on cannabis. I think it was in the 30s, right?
Yeah, it was in the late 20s, early 30s. That's where um we get the whole what's the Reefer Madness film,
Right. Oh, right. The
because they
craziness
thought
of
people
that.
that were on the weed were psychotic. They were killers
Right.
and all this weird shit. And
And
so
they put it in people's head, my mother in particular, that she was so scared of weed that
yeah,
it was irrational. But
right.
my grandmother took the syrup of cannabis or whatever it was ingested in before it was made illegal. And there was a black market in New York City with the pharmacists to provide cannabis because my grandmother
But
probably led the way. She was a kvetcher
But okay, so
and
but in what form were they taking it there? Were they drinking it like syrup?
it like syrup.
Yep.
But they couldn't. The pharmacists couldn't sell it legally,
Right.
and which made it a commodity for them,
Sure.
so that heavy duty users, for one reason or another, would have to go from borough to borough, from neighborhood to neighborhood sometimes to get their fix.
Right.
And my grandmother was a kvetch on if she needed it, and she had arthritis and glaucoma, and she did need it, no question about it. But she wasn't happy when she didn't have it. And my grandfather and I would he take us on the train, the subway, for a nickel at the time, a nickel fare, and we ride around looking for. He had a route that he could get. Sometimes it took one or two stops. Sometimes it had to get out and walk, but it
Right.
was our thing. I didn't know what it was all about. I had a brief idea that it shut the old lady up, which was both of our goal.
Right.
And I say that lovingly because that's what she was referred to as the old lady. How's the old lady doing?
Right.
Things um, things were different back in those days. Now they use different terms, but there's still the same basic disrespect that women are not demanding be changed. Can you imagine a White House press corps that has to respond to piggy, piggy, piggy
Oh yeah.
as an example,
Oh, I know.
and uh, things are as they always were 75% pay and 175% of work for the women.
Well, that
So
also shows. Well, it shows a couple things, but it shows one thing for sure is that a lot of people that are in that press corps are not holding our current government to holding their feet to the fire.
well,
If
if
okay, so if I'm interviewing the president, I don't care if I'm with Ed Studios Online in San Francisco, a podcast studio, or if I'm with CNN or ABC News. I'm representing myself, really. I'm Paul Brumbaugh. And so if I have a mic in the president's face, in POTUS's face, and I ask them a question and they insult me, I would have called his ass out right there. Even if they
it'd
would
be your
have,
last
even
day
if,
on the job.
it would have been fine if Secret Service would have grabbed me and restrained me and pulled me back to the other part of the plane. But I'm telling you, somebody called me piggy. So I had
Right.
someone insult a client of mine yesterday, and I'm just going to say it was an elevator operator. I won't tell you what building it was in because you probably know what building I was in. But
I think I do.
I had an elevator operator insult a client of mine for no reason. Literally went out of his way to talk shit to him. And so as a comedian, not as the owner of Edge Studios Online, as a comedian, I responded. And I responded quick and fierce. This
Right.
person right next to me got insulted by an elevator operator. I turned around, insulted the hell out of the elevator operator, and said, "Where do you get off being like that?" And there's a little taste of your own little medicine. How does that feel? Take it from me, a professional. Do not attempt this at
Right.
home. You know, kind of shit. No, it just pissed me the fuck off. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you think, oh, because this person's an easy target? Were they beneath you in some way? Your job is to run the elevator, sir.
They
Maybe
will
say, oh,
never
please stay,
forget the interaction.
maybe please stay clear of the doors, or what floor, or that's the kind of shit I should hear out of your mouth, not a direct
Right.
insult. And then I literally called him on it, and the person came back even more, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done. People like you aren't even worth the energy or the time because you're never gonna learn. So, but it doesn't mean that you go silently into the night. Same thing with whatever's
No.
going on in government right now. Whatever you believe
And
in, you
you
should be speaking up about.
and
Um,
there are
so
people out there who are not in power and they're afraid in the same way that the people are in power. And I'll bet that the Trump thing has to do with his fear. And that's the bottom line. It's the walls are closing in on the fucker.
well,
And
I noticed that he has been very deflective. He's been very demeaning, and he's been very throwing a lot of distraction, a lot of D words, huh? Deflecting,
yes,
demeaning, and distracting.
and
So
he's a douche.
and denying. So every
And add
time
that he's a douche too. So
he's a
that's a D
douche, a
word.
lot of D words, a lot of D words, but a lot of them are he's like trying to denounce things, or he's he's trying to make things fit his narrative, and people are starting to see that that's not what's going on here. I've got two
He's
eyes, I've
demented.
got ears, I can watch the news, I can see what's happening not only in my country but in my neighborhood. You know, I was somebody said is Trump really affecting your life? He sure is.
Absolutely.
He's affecting everybody's lives, even if these programs that he's cutting are not programs that you rely on. Um, man,
Well, right from the start,
I think the whole atmosphere in our country is very divided. You're either
well,
left
right
or
from
you're
the
right. You're
start,
either left or right. That's it. You
yeah,
have to decide. You have to put it on your shoulder. You have to wear it like a badge of honor or a letter of disgrace. I mean, it's scary. We're in a really fucked up place in this country.
and we should have known right from the start when the Supreme Court eliminated Roe v. Wade
Oh yeah,
what
that was
their
one of those signs for
what their
sure.
mindset was and how bad it was going to be in the future. It was and how it continues. They have um, their hands in decision to should they have Jeremiah gerrymandering. Correct me on that.
Oh, gerrymandering.
Gerrymandering. Excuse me. But that's a big part of the upcoming election in 2026, and we just wonder how he will divert attention and not have an election. Will it be Venezuela? Will it be fucking Canada,
Right.
Mexico?
Well, okay, so the one way he would get out of having an election is if we're at an act of war,
Right,
right? That's one way he can get away from an election.
that's a
And
big one.
the other one would be like literally a coup, taking over the government, right? And so,
And I think that um, the idea of putting the goons in every city that he doesn't agree with, that on his politics, just isn't flying. That that's where I have
are you talking
faith.
about the people in his cabinet or other
Uh,
elected officials around the country?
good point. I was talking about ICE and
Oh
those
yeah.
people,
Oh, okay. You're
but
talking about yeah.
um, people aren't standing for that. I see an overview of the people and the farmers, all that stuff. Inflation, um, it's really crazy. Um, but I don't see his power increasing. I see because of his being a demented fucker. I see people are taken to that a little bit. Their main news stream, the New York Times, um, they write articles about his longevity, his potential longevity. They have doctors on all these podcasts that are former White House people. Um, they look at his hands, they look at his ankles, they look at his inability to hold a thought, they look at his um, tend- um, tendency to fall asleep every day. Um, I have a good
Well,
feeling.
I have noticed that he's been in a bigger decline lately. I mean,
Right.
okay, he's always been weird and psycho, but his age and either his schedule is getting to him, right? We know his schedule's getting to him because he's staying up all night tweeting and then falling asleep in meetings in the day.
Right.
We know that his
Right.
rambling has always been there. He's always been a rambler. Can you do me a favor and reset your microphone for a sec? Um,
Uh,
Here, I'll do that so we can hear. Try it again. Let me hear. Oh yeah, better. Thank you. We also know that he's always been a rambler, and being a rambler, he's gotten worse at that. He's supposed to be at a function or an event for a particular thing, which I'm trying to remember the last one he was at. He was at some event, and all of a sudden he just
The
goes off
Lincoln, I
script.
think the Lincoln Project,
Oh,
which he's trying to take over, that
the
could be it.
which? Or you mean the
The
Kennedy Center?
Lincoln, yes,
The Kennedy Center.
Lincoln.
Kennedy Center. It's all right. The
Yeah,
Kennedy Center. So
no,
yeah,
I'm
even the
old.
Kennedy Center thing. Um, they were interviewing him on the red carpet, and they said, "Oh, what do you have for us tonight? What are you going to talk to us about? You know, what have you like rehearsed for this evening?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't think someone should rehearse for this." Or I'm paraphrasing, of course. This is not a direct quote, but he's like, I didn't really rehearse. I think it just needs to come from here, like the heart or whatever. But then he went out there and they gave him a quote, which I'll have to go back and look at. I wish I could do that right now. But he was like, "Hey, you guys are here. Thanks for some of you guys being here. Other ones, you know, you're miserable or you shouldn't be here or whatever the deal was."
His
And
hatefulness is unbelievable.
oh yeah.
Um,
And so he was basically insulting the audience, or at least part of it there. Like, thank part of you guys for coming, but the other part of you, well, you know. And I was like,
yeah,
talk about walking out. That's what a comedian says by dividing the room. You're not supposed to
right.
divide the room until you've got everybody on your side. And then you divide the room and hopefully have half of them follow you and the other half, you know, whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not losing people that are listening to you.
Hey,
It's the worst
Paulie,
thing.
do some business for us.
All right, I'll do that. I'm gonna do this. Uh, First thing is I'm gonna mute you. I love telegraphing the show. All right, guys. Just like Ziggy says, we are all lawyered up. We're gonna roll a couple commercial bits, then we'll be back with Zig Says right after this, guys. Whether it's criminal defense, estate planning, or civil litigation, the answer is the law offices of Andrew Doja. Call us today at 510-865-1600 or find us on the web at dojalaw.com.
For tenant and landlord disputes, there's no other than the law office of Jeff Canberra. Call now 1-510-865-7369 and don't forget to tell them Zig sent you.
All right, you guys, please like, subscribe, and follow Zig in the Zone wherever podcasts can be seen and heard. That's right, on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch, guys. There's the channels. Please go like, subscribe, follow, and ring that little bell so when these podcasts pop up, you get that new edition of Zig in the Zone. That way, you're always in the zone with us. And Ziggy, you know what time it is? It's time for Zig Says. Tell us, bud.
Oh, well, Zig says a lot of things. Um, Zig says that the best way to give charity, it's just my way, box up a bunch of children's books, lightly used, new, send them to the Head Start program or bring them down there to the Head Start program nearest you in your own community. You get a tax write off, you get to determine that right away. And what you do is help kids who need it most. They need a head start. Help them by teaching them to read, making reading fun, and developing a passion. We can make a difference doing that. So do that for me in the name of Comfortably Zoned, and I'll be a happy little Jew boy. Um, and that's all it takes to get me through the day, really and truthfully. That's important. I want to talk about the attorneys we have. Two Alameda attorneys are sponsoring us. One is Andrew Doza, who I've known for about 25 years, and he's terrific. He is he has empathy, like Paulie. Makes a big difference when you're dealing with someone. And he has the skills. He is a master of all white collar crime, um, estate planning. He just does it all. Does it all except one thing. That's tenant landlord disputes. And for that, we have Jeff Canberra, who has made compromise a good word. You're dealing with the landlord or you're dealing with the tenant. You need resolve and you need quick resolve. And he's done this for 20 some odd years. He's a great guy. And we're lucky to have his sponsorship and Andrews. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
There you go. And I just had Ace the Wonder Pup up here. Ace, come here. Come here. Come here, Ace the Wonder Dog. Come here. See him? There's Ace the Wonder Dog. There's Ace the Wonder Dog. There he is. Everybody wants to know where Ace is, and Ace is right there. Here, let's get this out. See up here?
All right.
All right. Go lay down, buddy. Go. Go lay down, buddy. Oh, he's going to go underneath. No, come here. Come here. Anyway, so that's what we're doing.
All right. How are we doing time-wise?
We're getting there. We're at 43 minutes into the podcast. So
Okay.
there's that. And let's put up another picture or two. Now, you wanted to talk about these three gentlemen right there.
Oh, this is the proudest memory that I have of being a Giant fan is when in 1951 they played in the World Series. Shortly before then, Don Mueller twisted his ankle. He was the regular right fielder. And remember, this is 1951. Jackie came up in 1947. So this is why this is so great. Hank Thompson, a third baseman, replaced Don Mueller in right. The center fielder was Willie Mays, and the left fielder was who? Monty Irvin. Three blacks playing in the World Series in the outfield at the same time. That was unbelievable. And shortly after that, in my golden age of baseball, blacks had started to dominate the program. There was Henry Aaron. There was Frank Robinson. One Robbie coming in, one going out. There was Roberto Clemente. And a myriad of others who won a bunch of MVPs, batting titles, and showed their all around greatness. So the Giants and Dodgers and the Yankees had folks coming in to play them that were more advanced than they were racially. The Yankees didn't have their first player till 1956. First black, Ellie Howard. And there's a picture with all the catchers, if you could bring that up.
Let me see here.
Here's, yeah, there's that's Sal Maglie glaring at the dugout. There's Willie Mays playing stickball with the kids in the neighborhood. There's Bobby Thompson, just hit his home run, the shot heard round the world to bring him
There's the
in. Willie
catch.
making, there's a great catch. Not the catch I'm referring to, but a great catch. DiMaggio, Mantle, Ted Williams. That is a threesome. And the man, Stan Musial, representing the people coming in to play the Giants. That's Leo DeRocha and Willie Mays. Getting back to that other picture, there's the catch. Here's the catches. Bill Dickey, who was that? That was Yogi, and I think that was Ellie Howard. There's Mickey and
Willie Mays.
and Willie. Yeah.
There's DiMaggio, Mays,
DiMaggio, Mays, and
there's Mantle.
And the greatest Dodger ever, Duke Snider. Yeah, there's Mantle, and frustrating. He was a hothead. He likes striking out. Interviews show stay team stay. For both the Giants and Dodgers, to have them leave in 1957 broke the city's heart. I was 11. I lost my team. Sucked. So
right. No,
I don't know what to say. Yeah, but you got the Giants, and you mentioned something about the '54 Giants. That was the last team that won for the Giants through the won it all through like 2004. So, and they had some great teams. 62 and 63 for the Giants and Dodgers was still my golden age of baseball. Here's another way I identified the golden age of baseball. Did they play on dirt? Yes, they did. Did they play without the DH? Yes, they did. Did they play without the rule that in extra innings that you have a phantom runner at second base, which bastardizes the game? They've changed the size of the bases themselves. They put in the instant replay, like it or don't. I have mixed feelings about it. Changes the game, and I loved it the way it was. I like baseball still, not like I did, and that's enough talking baseball.
All right. So
All right.
We're getting close to that time.
Good. Hey, let me just
in.
remind people to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, and your kids off the laps of clerics. And that will make for a great day, a better day. So
Well, and
that's all you can
definitely
do.
a less invasive day.
Right, exactly.
Yikes.
Exactly. And
Oh my goodness.
remember, you kids out there, there's a lot of advertising for abuse in the church, and there's a lot of Facebook ads. It's never too late to sue your parents for leaving you with these people. It's not, not all the, it's just a temptation for the clerics. And
That's funny.
in a sense, you set yourself up. So, and by the way, buy your kids a science book and throw away the Bible. Let them buy a Bible of their own if they want, but at least they have a science book to give them some idea of reality. This is Zig saying it. It's not Paul saying it. Just rambling about how I go through life and what I have to. Don't even start me on this.
Well,
I, I
here's a little PSA to distract you from that. You know they have that
thank you.
program. They have those programs when you're a young parent, right? They have those programs when you're a young parent that if you can't take care of your newborn child, you can bring it to like a fire department safely to be sure that it
Oh,
gets taken care of and it gets, that somebody, you don't put your kid in a dumpster or you don't do something with your kid. You can
of
bring it
course.
safely.
Yeah.
You can bring it safely to a fire department, leave it on a doorstep, ring a doorbell, and it's like ding dong ditch, and you can leave your kid there. It's like a sanctuary for. So I'm glad that they have that program for young mothers that are overwhelmed. Now, I want to say this. Aren't there a lot of older people that are glad that program isn't there for them when their children have to take care of them and they're overwhelmed in their older age that you can just go drop off your elderly parent at a fire department or a bingo
Oh, yeah.
hall or somewhere. So remember that you have family. Take care of your family. If you don't have family and you have friends, reach out to them. It's the silly
and,
season. It's the
and
silly
you are
season, and
doing it,
people are,
Paul.
well,
You are
everybody
doing
should be.
it with your parents, with your kids, with your wife, and with yourself. You're to be commended. You
Oh,
haven't.
yeah. Hey, I'm definitely doing it with my wife, if you know what I mean. Oh, wait. No, that's not what you meant. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. I thought this show would never progress to that.
That's a whole new low. We have a whole
It's
new
a
low
whole
to shoot for.
or a whole new high.
Yeah.
Uh, okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
thanks.
I'm with you, Ziggy. I'm with you, Ziggy. For you people that have family, that have friends, please reach out because you never know what somebody's going through. This time of season is really crazy. Uh, Not everybody has a dog like Ace, has a family at home, and has friends out there. Reach out to a human being and a fellow human being and be that person. I'm wearing my Grinch shirt because I thought it was ironic that I'm wearing a Grinch shirt. Oh wait, you can't see it. I'm the sly one, Mr. Grinch.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
no,
snuck that in there.
I just snuck that in there. That's how I am. All right. With that all said, Ziggy, ho ho ho, and Merry Christmas, you guys. We're getting closer to that day, and next show I'll be celebrating my wedding anniversary. So watch out.
Wow,
So
wow.
enjoy,
Mazel
stay
tov.
warm. Yeah, Mazel Tov. Thank you. I'll break a glass just for you. It just won't
All
be a
right.
glass bong. All right, guys. Ziggy, get us out of here like only you can, sir.
Hey, I'm trying to say to get us out of here how appreciative I am of you, Paulie, and the people who listen, who respond. I'm thrilled at what we've done, and I look forward to doing this again next year.
You got it. And you guys stay
All
in the
right?
zone. Until next week, adios.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.